Hey everybody, welcome to whatever this is. I'm with Goddess Sarah Bofinger. How's it going?
Ooh, amazing. How about yourself?
Doing good. Doing good. I think this might be our first or second Facebook Live since I got my new lights.
Yes, I think it's the second one because I
Second one.
remember last week was like you
Yeah.
were really right, and I was like, wow.
I know. I just keep, I lose track of what we're talking about because I just keep staring at myself because I look so good.
Me too. I mean, I was like jealous of the light fixtures going on, but maybe one day,
Yeah.
I'll have that too.
I know. Yeah, it's very, very narcissistic, right?
Right?
Um,
Exactly.
um, what I wanted to talk to you today, and I actually like put this up on Facebook. Like, I know I'll actually use the software to let people know in advance so they can show up. And so it prompts me to say like what we're going to talk about. And I was thinking like I have been feeling lazy on my runs, just like not really feeling it, and I can't tell exactly whether it's self-preservation, whether it's a smart thing, like I'm in some sort of recuperative state right now, or if I'm just, being lazy, and if I just sort of ramped it up, I would sort of break through and be happy at this higher level. And I wanted to ask you, because I know you've had a long, long training career, and you have to get into cold water sometimes early in the morning. And I'm curious about your experience of whatever you might have called laziness at any point.
um, so, this is it's funny because there's so many ways that I could take this, right? And so I'm
Mhm.
trying to find like the best way that I can put this. Like I guess I'll go in more present time. During this quarantine, I've gotten to sleep in. And so for me, that was like I had this feeling of feeling lazy because I was used to be waking up at 4 a.m. every day, and now like I can sleep in until 8 o'clock, and I literally have the entire day to, do my workouts. And so I allowed myself to feel all the feelings. Like that's been my thing, is just to feel them, right? Because a lot of times our thoughts try to dictate that it's something that we need to do or change, but it ends up being it's just a thought. And if I don't address it, or I don't like categorize it into anything, it's literally just a thought, and I can like allow that thought to be there and kind of move through me and then see what, comes of that. And so that's really like my advancement to feeling lazy or not wanting to do something or any of that. Like I've just been allowing myself to feel the feelings, understand that a thought doesn't dictate what I am or what I'm doing, and I can allow that. And then usually the next day, like I have a really great, training session after that.
Hmm. So it's almost like if you start believing the thought, okay, well, I'm feeling lazy today, that leaves a residue that can kind of affect your decisions moving forward. Whereas if it's just, oh, there's a thought of laziness, but I still feel like, oh, so I have the thought, like I'm doing a
Mm-hmm.
12, 13-minute mile, and I'm like, why aren't I doing 9-minute miles today? Like, because I know if I were training for something, I would have a plan, and I would have my watch, and I would be working towards the goal. And so, like, well, am I slipping back? Like, so I'm having the thoughts, and then I say, oh, well, there's just a thought, but I still have to do something, like either continue at the same pace or pick it up. Um, how do you tell whether it's the body wisdom or the mind's, you know, messing around?
Well, so if it's the body will usually react to a thought that the mind had, right? So, like in that instance of you being like, okay, like, why can't I run 9-minute miles, right? So, maybe in that instance, you attempt to run a 9-minute mile in that moment, and then if you can't do it, then you're knowing that the body isn't ready to do it yet. And it doesn't mean that it's not going to happen, but it's like, okay, body, I'm not able to do this today. So we'll just take that data and turn it into, good data, right? A bad day turns into good data.
Yeah, but it's different than that, though. It's not like, oh, I want to and I try and I don't. It's like, oh, look, I'm looking at my watch. Oh, I'm doing like 13-minute miles. I'm sort of walking up the hills. Like, I really should be doing a 9-minute mile. At least, a couple of miles of every run should be at a pace that's a challenge. And I'm not. Right?
So my question is, why do you feel you should be doing that? Maybe you've put an obligation on yourself to have this 9-minute mile, and maybe your body doesn't want to have a 9-minute mile
now. Well, partly because I've seen the benefit of pushing. Right? So like when you talked about when you were swimming and getting timed all the time and talking about I'm trying to beat this time, like you worked really hard. And there was like in the moment it doesn't always feel good to work really hard. And so that's where I'm at, and because I have no time, and Elizabeth wants to know about like would it help to set a goal, or would that sort of defeat the purpose of living the lifestyle? It feels like there are many days where I don't want to do the work that's going to make me feel bad in that moment for the reward, right? Like the same thing I tell other people about, and so I'm trying to figure out how to have that conversation with myself, because I know there are times where taking it easy is smart. Mm-hmm. And there are other times when it's just easier and it feels better in the moment, in the same way that eating a piece of chocolate feels better in the moment. And so I'm wondering if my runs are turning into some sort of equivalent of chocolate eating. Right?
Yeah. I mean, that's interesting that you say so maybe what's happened is you've created a habit, right? Just like that candy bar. It's just like, oh, when I'm feeling a certain way, I just eat it and I don't even think about it, right? But now that you're aware of this, what is it that you can do to step it up, right? That 1% better, right? Like, what can you do? Like, okay, the now moment, you don't want to do it, perfectly fine, right? But now you're aware of this happening. So what can you do to prepare, even if it's just 1%? Like, okay, on this one hill, I'm going to sprint it. And that's going to be where I get close to my 9-minute, mile pace thing,
Mm-hmm. Okay, so to set, like, it doesn't have to be for the rest of the run.
Yes, it can be like a tiny, tiny little bit of the run that you're like, okay, I know what it feels like to run 9 minutes, so I'm going to go that level for just this amount of time and see how that feels, right? And then it's like, if the body's like, okay, it was uncomfortable, but it wasn't to the point where I felt like I was going to die, right? So I know that I could continue pushing because I didn't actually go my max, but I was able to feel it in a sense that was still comfortable, right? So you're not like doing all 6 miles or so at the 9 minute, but maybe it's even like from branch to branch, like it could be the littlest thing to try to figure it out, right? Try and be aware of what's happening to you, and then you can start to pinpoint it when you're in the moment, saying, hold up, like, oh, I'm really uncomfortable right now. Okay, I know that I can do this, because sometimes we have to like experience it, right? And then to believe it. Like, for you to believe it right now and know what happened in the run may not be enough,
So to use that thought as a trigger to run a test.
Yes.
I like that.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I've been doing. Like, I've been running. So, at first, like, running, it was like really challenging, but then I would do little tests like a point 0.8, and I would find on Strava that I would beat one of my point 0.8 times. And I wasn't even like thinking about the point 0.8, and I never know where I'm going to run because Captain just like is running ahead and I'm literally chasing him the entire time. So I don't even know my speed, like I was like super unaware. But now that I've been running at a certain pace, like I can see, like if my body's starting to like get out of breath, I know that I'm pushing it a little bit more, and it's like, ooh, I don't know where I'm going, so let me dial it back a notch. But then I know that I can like push it, so that's how I've been able to consistently run, but also be able to get that like push that you're talking about, where it's like super uncomfortable, but it's not uncomfortable to the point of I feel like I can't do this.
Yeah, because what's been concerning me is I feel like I'm losing touch with uncomfortable. Right? Like it's been several months that I haven't really raced. I've been, I think I'm close to injury free, and yet I've gotten into this recovery groove. So one thing I'm thinking is that, that when I'm training, every workout has a purpose. And some of the workouts, the purpose is simply recovery, which means whenever I feel like walking, I walk. But there's other workouts where the purpose is something else. It's to build VO2 max or stamina or leg strength or grit, or to practice a stride. And those are, and I haven't had any of those. Like the reason I'm running is so that I stay a runner. Right. So I'm thinking like Elizabeth's idea of adding maybe not a goal like this, 54-minute 6-miler, but a goal of spending 10% under discomfort.
Yeah, and then that can help you set further goals, right? Because even for me, like I have no idea when I'm racing again. I have no idea if there's Olympics. I have also been going through my own things of like my body's changing because I'm not swimming as much as I did, and so I'm having to do these different things that are all making me stronger, but at the time where I'm thinking like it's not enough, right? Like I'm not swimming 4 hours a day, so I'm not going to get the same level, but I've been doing what I'm sharing with you of like these little small goals and these small little tasks so that I can keep myself interested in, swimming and racing and things like that, but also not like making like just having that guilt, right? That guilt feeling of like, oh, I'm not pushing hard enough because I'm not doing what I was doing in the past.
Right.
And if we can look at like, okay, maybe what I was doing in the past was way more than I needed to do. And maybe there's a shorter version of what I can do, with this. So that's how I've been able to turn my racing and training and things like that and turning it into shorter goals so that I can experiment a little bit more, because like I just want to be a swimmer at this point, I just want to be an athlete. I want to be able to stay healthy and, and so the goals may be changed, right? Because we don't have physical races where someone's calling us across the line and saying, hey, Howard Jacobson finished this 50-miler, but maybe like we could be our own little like cheerleaders, along the way. That's like, okay, like here's what I did today and it was really amazing. And I know that now I can do a little more the next time.
Yeah. So Elizabeth's got some interesting questions. She wants to know if my overall goal is to stay a runner or to experience discomfort. And she's sort of pinning me to the wall here because I realize when I say my overall goal is to stay a runner, it's basically a negative defensive goal to not be a not runner. Like I don't want to go back to the slob I was before I met Josh.
Yeah.
Right. And so the way I know how to do that is, well, I'm doing my 6 miles a day. Right. Minimum 6 days a week, 6 miles a day. Then I'm still in the game. Which is different from I enjoy it. I'm growing from it. It's simply like I do this because if I didn't, it's like taking the stopper out of the bath. Everything's going to leak away. and I'm gonna turn into a fraud again and a couch potato, and like that's where the mind goes.
Yeah, exactly.
So not only so I think that's very much in line. Like Elizabeth, great questions. Like with the idea of the thought of laziness, like what underlies that is a whole identity. That's like, and I feel the shame of returning to that identity, and the shame actually slows me down. It's not like like the shame makes me do the thing that would alleviate the shame.
Yeah, it creates resistance within you that it doesn't allow what it is that you really want to achieve. And the other thing that came to me when you were sharing this is like maybe your body is ready for more, and maybe like 6 miles 6 days a week is like bare minimum for you, right? Like maybe like you doing shorter runs at a faster rate maybe give you the extra push that you're looking for those 6 runs a week, and maybe like there's just something like maybe your body's just like, you know what, like this isn't serving us anymore. Like we want to do some harder things, and then letting go of that identity of needing to be a runner, as if that's even like when we tell people that you're an athlete just by getting off the couch, like it helps us to a certain point, but then it's like, where do we go from here, right?
Right. I guess once you have an identity, it becomes the thing that you settle on, right? Like, what do I have if I'm a runner? Then what's the minimum I have to do to be a runner? It's like if you're like building a house, you want to know, like, you don't want to know what's the best I could do. You want to go like, what's code? So I can just come in above code.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah. So how do I, so I'm basically like the lowest bidder on my own abilities.
Yeah. And I think that your body is telling you that you're ready for more, and because you haven't taken that next step, we'll just stay right here because this is where he is. But looking at your overall running identity, and then like fine-tuning it, right? Like kind of chiseling some things away that haven't been working, and find the things that are working. And then there's always room for more change. I'm always changing my workouts like every 2 weeks, just because like I don't want to get like stuck on one thing and feel like I can't choose another one, like, and so maybe that's what you're seeking, right now, is that ability to push it, but in a different way that you haven't tried before.
Right. Well, it's interesting because in the winter, I dialed back the running, and I was going to the gym 4 days a week, and I was starting to lift weights and get stronger, and I liked that. And of course, then the gym closed, and I was also on the old men's ultimate frisbee team, and was going to, trying to make it onto the starting lineup so that I could play in the tournaments, which aren't happening. And it's like, oh, so the running, I had a diversified enough portfolio that I could just I could go back to what I was doing without any struggle. Like a lot of people, their routines, like your routine was completely upended. And mine, the thing I had been doing was the thing that COVID wasn't going to take away from me.
Yes.
And at the same time, like I have like all this equipment in my office, like right here, that I could be lifting. I have, could be doing yoga. I'm standing on a yoga mat that's been open here. Like, I think of it like a puppy that keeps, is that the leash? Is he going to take me for a walk now? Like my yoga mat is like, oh no, he's
come on it.
Yeah. Yeah. So right now but also that these have been hard times, and so falling back on running is a hell of a lot better than falling back on chocolate.
Yes, definitely, for sure. Yeah. But I think, like with this time, like we have a choice, right? We have a choice to choose more love in our experience, or we have a choice to choose more fear, which is like, oh, like I don't have the gym, I can't do anything, but I have all this equipment here and I could do something, but because, I'm going to use this time as an escape, like I see a lot of clients that are literally, when they find out that something has happened to someone else, they immediately shut down. They immediately like close out on their own health and not, use this as a momentum to find different ways to train. Like I'm lucky that I have weights and stuff, and I've been able to, use them so that I can continue to be stronger and things like that. But of course, everything is completely flipped upside down, but it's like, I think our ability to find the things that we can do and maximize on that, we can really do ourselves a favor and getting that ball going, right? Because it's hard. Like I get it. You have all the stuff you need, but that little voice is like, I don't know, So hopefully this rejuvenates that voice. I'm gonna dart you, so you can say, okay, I'm ready to go. I'm doing yoga.
Yeah, I'm thinking of committing to at least 1 mile a day at pace.
Yes, that's a great way to look at that. Like if you can do a whole mile in 9-minute pace, yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
And if you feel like it's too much, and then you do half of a mile, then you get to be the judge of your experience, right?
Right. I mean, because I've run, marathons at sub-9 pace, like, and that feels so far away.
Yeah.
Like the thought of one sub-9 mile is like, oh.
But it's just like you've developed a habit, right, during this time. And so now it's just you need that like that lightning bolt or that jolt in you to say, okay, like I'm ready to kind of commit to that and try that again, know, and that's really, and with knowing that there doesn't need to be an outside goal. It can always be an inner goal of like, what is it that I'm going to feel differently this time around than I did before? Maybe you notice that like, it's so easy to go 9 minute. You could be going 8 minute, like who knows, like what could be discovered, in this time trial that you get to run on yourself.
All right. Well, I feel energized. So
perfect.
Thank you.
Now you can go out for a run. I'm timing you now.
Yeah. Luckily, I just ate lunch, so.
Oh, good. You're off the hook.
Off the hook. So
I'll be clocking you on Strava now.
Yep.
I'll be your biggest fan.
Actually, knowing that helps. Knowing that you're going to be looking.
Yeah, I will be looking to see, and I'll be like, yes, I'll be cheering for you. So just know you'll have all the energy you need.
All right. Thanks, Coach.
You're welcome. Cool.
All right. Talk to you next time. Thanks, Elizabeth, for all the commentary and great questions. Yeah. Thank you both for calling me on my BS.
Yay.
All right.
We feel so empowered now. Now we can all go and live our lives perfectly. Great.
Right on. All right. Catch you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Woo-hoo.